The narrative of the club, especially this year from the pre-season, unfortunately hasn't been football. It's been everything but football. It's been about everything off the field, with individual players, with spats, with little mini wars within the club. That's not right. That's not how a successful football club runs.
It's a mess at the moment at Manchester United, and maybe in a weird sort of way today was a good result, because it's highlighted what an absolute, I use the word mess again because it's come into my mind, that is going on at this club. This was a club that, was always a step above everybody else, or wanted to be, that not a bad word came out, not a bad word seeped out to the press. It's like a pantomime at the minute. They are in the press for the wrong reasons every single minute. I know it's good copy because it's Manchester United. And I felt sorry for him, and I feel sorry for poor Paul Scholes, who has to watch Manchester United perform so bad in the last couple of years and has to comment on it. But they have to do something, and maybe today is the turning point.
It's only
Sanchez
a good day
not there.
if they do something, isn't it?
Well,
it's
exactly.
Only a good day
maybe today is the one time, because I know there's been bad times in the last couple of years and the way they've played, but today, with the circus around them, seems to be the point. That's the tipping point today. Sanchez not there, players playing in all the wrong positions, the midfield being bereft of any pace and any genuine, creativity.
Right.
It just looks as if they're a million miles away.
If today is the day, if today is the landmark day where something has to change, what is that something?
Well, that's I said it earlier, that's for the hierarchy of the football club to decide. That's their job. You're put in charge of the football club to manage it and run it right. If someone said to me, in training, let alone in a match, you didn't work as hard as you can do today, you're not putting it in, I would be mortified. I'd be sitting there, going home, looking at me thinking, I'm cheating myself. I'm not even cheating, I'm cheating my teammates. I'm cheating the people that pay my wages. I think it's a disgrace for someone to be able to sit there and call you out for your work ethic, as a football player, as an athlete. I don't agree with that.
When that momentum starts to go a certain way, he's never had the ability to bring it back. So we can sit here and go, he's still the guy for the job because we know how great a manager he is. But, it happened here at Chelsea, it happened in Madrid, and it's happened, obviously, at United, where he's singling people out. It started in the summer, with the tour. Then it was Luke Shaw's time. Then it was Martial's turn. Then it was, I think Rashford got his little douse. Now the two centre-halves have been getting it. How many more are kind of getting heavily publicly criticised, and still, which you do get as a player, but at the same time, he's not getting a tune out of any of them.
I saw a clip on social media with Pogba when he was in the French squad. He wasn't wearing the armband, but the rousing speech that he gave before they went out, or at half-time, was that of a captain. That was someone who's standing up, taking responsibility, and a leader. Someone who wants to lead that team and says, I'm taking responsibility now. I'm going to shout. I'm going to tell you guys what this means. And they went out and won the World Cup. Whether that was the catalyst to win the World Cup or not, he'd done it, and everyone was tuned in that change room, because you could have heard a pin drop, it seemed.
When you weren't involved last season, how close did you come to having a conversation about your future lying elsewhere?
I had a contract with Chelsea. I had 2 offers from different clubs, but I said to Chelsea I want to stay, so I'm going to wait. If Chelsea take a different manager, I'm going to try to show him to stay in Chelsea, so was what I did. They changed for Sahi, and I was trying to convince Sahi to stay in Chelsea.
So if Conte had remained, it might have been a different situation for you?
For sure.
Yeah. You would have gone?
For sure.
Yeah.
I look at Roy Keane. His powers are on the decline probably as a player, as an individual, but it was more of his influence, what he demanded of people, whether it be in a training ground, on the training pitch, in the game in the 90 minutes, or within the hotel.
And was he not divisive along that? Did he unite the players?
Yeah, but I felt at points there were times when there were some players that would maybe go into their shell because he was so demanding and so forceful, But then there were some players that would get more out of him. I was probably one of them that I'd go, OK, I'm going to show you if he shouted at me, or I'd have an argue back, but we'd get to a place where he got what he wanted.
What I care about is what happens on that football pitch. What happens within my dressing room? Does he make sure that we're prepared right? Is he the right man for the job to make sure that when we walk out of that tunnel, I can win at the weekend? And that for me matters more than whatever he's doing in his own personal life, which was wrong. Don't get me, it was wrong, but that's for the club to deal with. If he's good as a captain, then I would still want him to be my captain.
What was it like when you went over to Spain? What was their opinion of captains compared to ours?
Different. The Spanish were the captains.
Right.
It was the person who's been in the dressing room the longest was the captain. It was as easy as that. It was he's a shouter. And when I went, it was Manolo Sanchez. And then when he retired, it quickly went on to Fernando Hierro.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a huge shouter. But in that 5 or 10 minutes before we went out onto the pitch, he was the most vocal one. He was the one who was rallying the team. The manager was sitting in his own little cubicle out the way, he never said anything, the manager. It was up to the players to get themselves ready for the game. And then when Fernando Hierro retired, or left Madrid in the unfortunate circumstance he did, Raúl took over the captaincy. And again, he's a different character, and he wasn't very, very vocal at all, but he'd been there then the longest as well. So it just got passed on from game to game to game. And now it's Sergio Ramos.
If you'd have stayed there forever, would you have ever got it? Or
Well, I was captain at
Yeah.
various times for Real Madrid, yeah. And it was because at various times you played. I was captain for Liverpool as well, Jake.
You'll be telling us you're man of the match in a Champions League final in a minute.
Scored a goal in the Champions League final.
I went to QPR, and for the first couple of weeks I heard a lot of players talking about money. The same players, but a lot of them talking about cash.
Really?
Yeah.
Rather than winning games of football?
Yeah, because we were losing every week. But it was a big eye opener for me to see that I find things like that embarrassing. I don't want to talk about what someone's earning or any comparisons or anything like that. You're there to improve as players, as individuals, and as a team, and that should be at the forefront of your mind.
Half excited for Aaron Ramsey. I think he needs a change. I think he needs that, that freshener, that new challenge. Because I'm sorry, but if Aaron Ramsey didn't play today, would we all be sitting there going, hang on a minute, how's Ramsey not playing for Arsenal? You wouldn't. And that's because his career at Arsenal has been so up and down. That one great season that Rio's talking about, and he's trying to find that form again.
It happened to Theo, it happened to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and it looks as if it may happen with Aaron Ramsey. Maybe he needs that little, bit of new freshness. Club and, new belief and move to a different place. Jack Wilshere was another player who'd been there a long time, but has since moved on. I just hope whatever happens to him, he goes on to and plays really good football.
Is there any player in the Arsenal squad that can justify asking for £250,000 a week? I don't see that player.
I don't see it, no.
Because that player should be giving out consistent performances week in, week out, and I don't see a player at Arsenal that does that.
They shouldn't have given it to Ozil, should they? But they've set a precedent now for themselves. Where that is the benchmark. So if you're playing better than Ozil, you're thinking to yourself, well, I want his money.
We shall see how it unfolds. We shall see. I just don't trust players, though, that wind their contract down to get like a big money move to go abroad. We're out of time.
I don't want to swear on television.